Malmo, it's in the deep south of Sweden. So it's a port city. This is where basically everyone that's coming to Sweden, by foot or by car, they will enter across a bridge and they come into Malmo. So we have a very large number of, refugees and so forth from the, crisis of 2015. And Malmo is always been a rather poor city. They used to big ships there, and in the 1980s that all collapsed, and everyone was an alcoholic for a while. And then kind of it became slightly better, but it's a loss-making city, and it's been run by socialists for better part of the last 100 years. Now, over time, crime in Malmö started to rise uncontrollably, and again, coming back to the same topic all the time, this concept of being quiet about what is happening, because it's considered rude to mention the fact that, well, we might have a drug war going on in this city, and that's what we have right now. So people are working very hard at putting out different kind of representations, statistical representations, saying everything is fine, but it's getting harder and harder for them to do that, because everyone knows that we did not used to have weekly bombs going off in the city center, for one thing. And if I can, I'd like to sort of tie this back to a personal experience. You mentioned that time that I was burglarized. And what's really interesting about that story is not so much the fact that I was burglarized, but rather the reaction I got from the media when I wrote about this.
And from the police, when you asked them, what can I do about this?
Yeah,
so please
this
go
is an
on.
incredible story. Please,
I'll just make it really short. I wake up in the middle of the night, somebody's trying to break into our house. I carry my twin girls upstairs, arm myself with a hammer because I didn't have a gun at home. Hammer, I'm on the phone with the police. They're trying to, force entry through our front door, and the police is saying, be quiet, don't make your presence known, we'll be there shortly. Then my neighbor comes home, we have a shared walkway, he scared them off by turning on the lights, so they got away. 30 minutes later, I'm giving my testimony, is that what you say, statement,
Yes.
to the police, sitting in my kitchen. And I ask him at the end of the interview, it's like, so what can I do to protect myself and my family from this ever happening again? And literally, he does this. Seriously, don't live in this city. It is out of control, we cannot control it. This was in 2007. That year, I believe I paid about 12 million in taxes. And I live in a very, fashionable part of town, as I expect
I've been to his penthouse, it's very nice.
Yeah.
Yes. That's where I interviewed you. Yeah. I expect a better answer by the police than them telling me to leave. So I wrote an editorial about this in Sweden's largest conservative newspaper, and told the story about basically what the policeman told me, which I thought that this is the really shocking part. The reaction by the local newspaper in Malmo was they didn't speak to me. They spoke to the paper that took my editorial and said, this is completely unacceptable. What poor taste and journalistic unprofessionalism that you should publish an alarmist, populistic text like this, which is drawing the attention from the people in need. This is a wealthy capitalist. He's spoiled, and you should not listen to this alarmism. And that really shocked me, because I had journalists attacking me on Facebook. Why do you write that? Why do you put a text like that out there?
Yeah.
So, and this was just when I was starting my YouTube channel. So this.
And then you got called racist and the rest of it, right?
Racist,
all that stuff
fascist, bigoted, right-wing nut job. They hadn't started using the word whore.
Yeah. But so all this being said, you stayed in Malmo for 2 years, basically.
Well, he's not Jewish.
Yeah, right. So, we'll get to that in just a second. But you stayed.
Yeah, we stayed. Then the crime situation has escalated. So when we finally, the straw that broke the camel's back was this summer, and I made a video about this. It was so tragic because these drug cartels are basically fighting it out in Malmo. They shot a young mother in the head while she was carrying. And I can hardly speak about this because it really upsets me, to be honest. They shot her dead in the head while she was carrying her newborn baby because she was affiliated with one of the drug gangs. And there was a trial thing going on. This was 9 o'clock in the morning on a public street in one of the most affluent neighborhoods in the city. And it really broke me. I said, I am not raising my children in this city. So now we're looking for a house outside the city.
So you're on your